Welcome to the Valley Urban Farm. As you've seen during the intro, we are busy delivering sunflower seed to the mill. Now, just a little interesting development. I delivered the sunflower seeds to the mill and put it into the mill in this covered area, and then went to check on our production unit and found that if you put the sunflower into that trigger point, it doesn't register in the production chains, should I say. So I'm presuming you need to put it in on the side one. If you recall, in the last episode or the one before, I did say that it seemed that you could deliver to both areas, but it apparently does not appear so. We're going to find out now. Luckily, I've still got some stock left, and I think I've got a little bit still in the store, in the silo, should I say. Let's go and see how much is there. I don't think there's a lot. Maybe 1,000 litres or so. Yeah, that's it. So I've got a reasonable amount, and we're back at the production unit, oil production unit. Put it in on the side here. Let's see what happens now. Let's go and have a check and see whether that registers. Yep, that's in there. So now we know. Which is quite interesting, and I kind of like that, because that means this is still a selling point if we have surplus stock of sunflower. Lovely, like that. Right, so quite a bit of developing been done today. The first thing, I think you will recall that I was getting little mumblings about my accommodation. So I sold the Winnebago, and we are building a new home for ourselves. We have been doing, in my opinion, fairly well, and I think we deserve to find something that will keep us comfortable in our rest hours. Got this nice little house, fits in pretty nicely between the apple trees. If I could just get it to go through to the right spot. I'll have to use the little Y thing, but the Y button. But I don't think that should affect anything. It's pretty flat. There we go. Not an inexpensive house. And we should be pretty comfortably there when we rest after our hard day's work. Let's put in a little bit of a path. I'm going to leave the meadows open so that we can encourage bees, etc. And I don't have enough time to do a garden. Well, I have not enough time to do a garden, but do I want to spend my spare time gardening? No. Oh dear. In case, we'll just put a nice little path in there. There's a little veranda for us to sit on in the evenings and survey our kingdom. Right. Going to spend most of the rest of today. We've done most of our deliveries. I think there's just a bit of hops to be delivered later this afternoon. Maybe some grapes to the brewery. So I'm just going to start tidying up and working a little bit on our Riverside property. or a riverside development. I just put in a couple of little trees and shrubs to kind of just indicate as to where the sort of sharp incline was at the back of the one cottage, just so that people don't fall down there. It's all about health and safety when they come around for the inspections. I don't want them saying, oh, people can fall and break a leg if they are not watching where they're going. That, of course, is another story on its own. Watching where you're going. In any event, we'll put in our fourth chalet stroke, hut stroke, cottage, whatever you want to call them. Holiday accommodation. I think that's enough. I don't want it to be a huge development. 4, I think, is enough. Just do some pathways. Put some pathways in from here. We don't want to have too many of those either. Still want to keep the nature feeling, the riverside feeling of the development. Right, so the top end here I think I'm going to make into a gravel parking lot, just so that people can park, and they can park up their cars here and then walk to each unit. As I said, I don't want to create a situation where people can just go and park their cars next to the accommodations and right on top of the river. Rather have them all up top here, a little bit away from the actual beauty of the riverfront. Yeah, so each of these accommodations should bring in about, I'd say about €8,000 a month. So quite happy with that. And it'll be continuous income. It won't be anything that we need to do a lot of extra work for. Put a little driveway in there. Yeah, nice. And very soon we should have our first people coming to well, we have had some visitors already, but they've had to park on the farm, so I'm hoping they will move their vehicles down here. I did put a note in under everybody's door just to let them know that they could come and park closer, don't have to traipse through the farm. Of course, the idea is that people can fish in the river, swim in the river. The water quality is excellent, and just generally have a nice relaxing time. They are free to wander the farm, have a look at all the different productions. All they have to do is report to the pub, pick up a high-vis jacket and sign the necessary disclaimers in case they get hit by a tractor. No, it's called CYYA forms. I'm sure you can work those out. Right. Did I put 2 Y's in that little acronym? Should only be one. CUA. In any event, once they've signed that, put their IVAs on there, and they get a list of instructions on how to walk around the outsides, trying to keep the hedge on one of their sides so that they're easily visible and not strolling through the middle of the farm such. The pub has been doing really well. We're having to restock every day with hobs, so people are consuming. So we can't complain about that either. Been very profitable, the hops operation so far, and since they've started making their own wines, we do get to make a daily delivery of wine to the pub as well, or of grapes so that they can make their own wine. The wine is called Riverside Merlot. Pretty tasty, if I say so myself. The pub landlord, of course, produces all the wine and sells it and takes the retail profit. We just get what we sell our hops for it. So everybody's happy. I don't have to go and stand and pull pints. Just flattening this all out now so that we keep it nice and flat. You don't want it too hilly or places where people can trip over when they are walking through this area. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Costing a little bit. It's more or less flat. It still seems to be doing some sort of work because the money's going down, but yeah, I think that's pretty much just about there. There is a little dip as you come towards the end, but I'm quite happy with that. Right, we'll just smooth it out just a couple of times over there just to make sure it's smooth and there's no rough edges if there's any little bumps. And then we'll start putting some attractions for the visitors. When I say attractions, I mean things that are nice for people, for visitors to come and see, but also make us money. First thing I'm going to put in is a chicken coop, although I won't be able to get chickens straight away. We've got to wait for the wheat field to be harvested so that I can put wheat in there for chicken feed. But we'll put it in because I want it right down at the bottom where the field kind of narrows a little bit. Yeah, somewhere around here. We'll try and get most of the trigger points facing towards the road. I know that's not going to be possible for everything we do, but it looks like most of the, well, for the chicken, it looks like most of the stuff is facing the road. So it's chickens in. Next thing I want to put in is some sheep. So sheep pen. Get a nice one that sort of kind of feels nice to look at. Shows them off nicely. This one won't be possible to get everything on the road, and that's kind of why I needed to put it kind of here and not right down in the corner, because you're going to have to do a bit of a loop around here. That's perfect. Right, so we're also going to put in a sale point for the eggs up in the market. So I think we'll have to do away with a little bit of seating space just to be able to find a spot for them. Our market is now looking nice and full. Quite a few things that you can get here now. We kind of need a baker up here. We might have to think of that somewhere along the line. Somewhere to sell bread. We don't have bread in our market. That's an idea, he says, making a note on his pad. We'll have to see how we're going to do that. Right, so we've got the egg seller right in the corner here. Once we've got our chickens producing eggs, we're about to deliver to him. At the moment he's buying in eggs from somewhere else, but of course the agreement is that he won't pay any rent here as long as he buys his eggs from us once we can supply. So you'll get a couple of months free rent. Right. So the next thing we're going to be putting in is the speciality farm store, country store. That'll be sitting here, and it'll be quite dual purpose in that we will be able to supply a lot of our product here. It'll be a fairly convenient place for our visitors to come and buy any goods, although it does seem a little bit over the top for 4 chalets, but of course it's also a place for the rest of the community to come in and buy product directly from the farm. So we will be supplying there and becoming self-sufficient. I'm just going to put a couple of trees in here just to block off the sight of the dirt bins from the chalet over there. I don't want somebody paying top dollar to come and stay here, and if they look out their back window all they can see is rubbish bins. Also cuts down a little bit on the sound that may be generated from people coming to buy product. Yeah, there we go. It's looking good. Still got a bit of space at the top there. We'll work out what we're going to do there. I've got a couple of ideas on that. Yeah, that's nice. So we'll put chickens in as soon as we, as I said, as soon as we can use our own feed from the wheat field, which I think is probably next month. I think harvest month is, where we're now June, I think it's in July. Actually, I think the corn is probably also July, although I think that's got a 2-month sort of ripening gap, so I'm not quite sure exactly when that'll happen. But I think our wheat, it's been a long time in the growing. It's one of the first things we did when we started here, so of course we'll have to lease harvesting equipment. I think for this year certainly we don't need to buy any harvesting equipment. Unless there's a deal, we might have might be able to buy a reasonable second-hand harvester. We'll see. Of course we have to buy the headers as well, and we've got wheat in one field and corn in the other field, 2 different headers required. So we'll just make some driving tracks around here, and then we'll have to plant some grass in between. Between the what are they called? Between the pens. The coop and the pens, that's what I was trying to think of. Right, so I don't want people really travelling back that way. So we'll try and make this a roundabout around the sheep pens. so that we don't have a lot of farm traffic travelling around the accommodation areas. There's going to have to be some people will naturally realise that they but they're all pretty much on a working farm as well. Yeah, so we've got a nice little loop going around here. We need the loop in any event to get the water into the sheep, so of course once the sheep start producing wool, we will be able to get that to our clothing manufacturing area, which if we do that, not quite sure whether we're going to do it yet. It's a question of where to place it. As I think I've mentioned before, I don't want to put it in this area. I mean, it'll quite easily fit into the space next to the store here, but I really don't want a... I mean, clothing company is not really a dirty industry, but yeah, don't want a full-on manufacturing concern here. We'll have to look around the map and see where we can perhaps buy a piece of land and use that for our full-scale manufacturing. I don't mind small little concerns. Maybe we could put a bakery in there. As I said, I've got to think about maybe producing some bread for the market. See if we can find any small bakeries or anybody who wants to work a small bakery in exchange for taking our product again. I suppose we'll have to find a way to make flour. I get distracted about planning for the future while I'm doing these things. Yeah, I'm trying to make it look just a little bit not square, let's put it this way, with all the paths. So pretty much freehand. Yeah, that's not looking bad. Let's get the guys to come and put in some grass. I'll grass everything now so that it looks nice while we're waiting for further developments. So even the top part, put some grass down there, and people who are visiting can kick around a football or a rugby ball, or if it's American, play a bit of American football or baseball rounders, whatever they want for now. We'll see that it's quite a big area that is not developed yet. I think I mentioned it in the last episode, I don't really want to put cows in this area. I know you do get some sort of smells and the odd fly or so from the sheep, but not quite as bad as cows if you have a lot of them. Might eventually have a small pen for cows, just maybe one or two there just for show as such. I think I mentioned in the last episode that the ice cream store was looking for a place to make his ice cream. Now I think that might be something that could be tacked onto something that we could do in that area. Just thinking out loud now, I'm not quite sure what, but maybe we can put in convenience store or something like that. But then again, I've got the county store, and I wonder if they'd be interested in doing a bit of a deal with the ice cream maker. Wonder if they've got a bit of extra space. I'll go and chat to them in the next little while and see if they've got any extra space to put in a little production for the. He says he doesn't really need something big. It's just like a fairly large sized room to make his ice cream. Kind of something that can be added on or added into something that has a bit of space. Of course, it has to be food grade or food preparation grade area. So this is the sort of big open area that we have at this present point in time, should I say. So we'll just get that all grassed over for now. It'd be nice to have this as a little bit of a feature area that would be interesting for visitors to visit. Maybe some older time productions could still be working. I don't know. That's not a bad idea. You know, an old flour mill, and perhaps a production facility for an old bakery, something sort of olden days, if you want to call it that. Almost like a historical village type thing in that little area. It's not a bad idea. Something to think about as well. Yeah, that's looking acceptable. I think people would like to come and stay in this little area. Right, so we do have the hay that we made earlier, not early on, when we bought this field. So we'll use that to feed the cattle. The cattle. Still got cows on my mind and why I'm not doing cows. In any case, to feed the sheep. So get a nice bit of feed in there. We'll get some water, bring in some water, and then we'll. So of course, because I don't want to feed the animals water from the fish tanks, so I'm having to come across the road to our freshwater tap and pick up water from there, which is no problem really. It's just I'll get that in. About 7,000, so we've got water filled up. That's good. And then I think we'll put in a variety of animals. We won't just have one breed, we'll have a couple of breeds so people can see different types of breeds. Start off with 2 of each. Put in lambs so that they can grow. So we'll have 2 Landrays. Steinschafts we'll have 2 of. Swiss Black Brown we'll have 2 of. And the Black Welsh Mountains. Don't know whether the Black Welsh Mountains will really enjoy it. There's no real mountains for them to climb, but I don't think it'll be too much of a problem. Yeah, so I'll put in 4 of each. Gives us a nice little starting point. And of course they can breed. And we can increase wool production, which, yeah, that's good. Well, I think that's where we're going to end this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Cheerio.